It's easy to be impressed by a 100-ton excavator, but the real American precision engineering was in the miniatures. Before Japanese brands dominated the compact market, U.S. manufacturers built excavators that looked like toys but worked like beasts. We are building the biggest visual library of rare machinery on YouTube, and we need you. Subscribe to help us preserve this history. Let's explore 10 cute but incredibly capable models you've likely never seen, but would love to have in your backyard. 1. Struck Corp Mini Beep MBA-80. To start our list of cute machinery that looks like it belongs in a toy box, but actually does real work, we have to talk about the Struck Corporation and their legendary Mini Beep. Ingersoll, while technically classified more as a compact utility tractor or an amphibious vehicle depending on how it was configured, the Mini Beep represents a unique era in American mechanical history, the era of the kit car. Manufactured by the C.F. Struck Corporation based in Cedarburg, Wisconsin, the Mini Beep was not a machine you simply went to a dealership to buy. Instead, it arrived at your door in a massive crate. It was the ultimate DIY project for the American handyman in the 1970s and 1980s. The marketing materials famously asked, "Why buy a tractor when you can build a Mini Beep?" Visually, the Mini Beep is undeniably adorable. It was designed to resemble a World War II Jeep. The name Beep is a nod to the military GP, but scaled down to the size of a large riding lawnmower. Its flat, boxy body panels and small aggressive tires give it a distinct Tonka truck aesthetic that appeals to collectors today. However, beneath that toy-like exterior was a surprisingly capable machine. The Mini Beep, model MBA-80, was amphibious. The body was essentially a watertight tub, allowing the operator to drive it straight into a pond. It didn't use a propeller. The deep tread tires acted as paddles to propel it through the water. On land, it functioned as a rugged off-road tractor. The excavator connection comes from Struck's ecosystem of attachments. Struck is perhaps better known for their MagnaTrack mini dozers, but the Mini Beep was designed to be a versatile power unit. Owners could equip it with a front-end loader and rear hitch implements. While it is rare to see a full backhoe arm on a Mini Beep compared to the MagnaTrack crawlers, the machine represents the Swiss Army knife approach of American small-scale engineering. It utilized simple, air-cooled engines, often Tecumseh or Briggs & Stratton, ranging from 8 to 18 horsepower. What makes it so compelling today is the rarity and the story behind it. Every surviving Mini Beep was bolted together by an individual owner in their garage, meaning the build quality varies, but the charm remains constant. It stands as a testament to a time when Americans wanted to build their own earth-moving and utility equipment from scratch. 2. Davis D100 Backhoe. Moving on to a machine that is strictly designed for digging, we have the Davis D100 Backhoe. Before the market was dominated by the massive global conglomerates we see today, American construction equipment was defined by specialized manufacturers like Davis Manufacturing out of Wichita, Kansas. In the mid-20th century, Davis was a pioneer in compact digging equipment. They were famously acquired by Case Corporation in the late 1960s, which is why many vintage Case trenchers and backhoes share DNA with Davis designs. However, the distinct Davis branding carries a vintage charm that modern machines lack. The Davis D100 is a compact, dedicated backhoe unit that looks almost prehistoric compared to modern, sleek mini excavators. It was often mounted on a small, dedicated traction unit or used as a detachable attachment for utility tractors. The aesthetic is purely functional and industrial. Exposed hydraulic cylinders, a rigid upright seating position, and a web of steel levers that the operator had to manipulate with skill. What makes the D100 cute, in the eyes of machinery enthusiasts, is its simplicity and size. It strips the concept of a backhoe down to its absolute bare essentials. There are no enclosed cabs, no air conditioning, and no joysticks. It is just a seat, an engine, a hydraulic pump, and a boom. Despite its diminutive size, the D100 was built with American steel and was incredibly robust. It was designed for cemetery work, utility line installation, and foundation digging in tight suburban backyards, where a full-sized backhoe loader could never fit. The stabilizers, outriggers on the D100 are particularly distinctive, often folding out in a way that makes the machine look like a small mechanical crab anchoring itself to the ground. For collectors, the Davis D100 represents the bridge between manual labor, shovels, and the modern era of compact track loaders. It reminds us of a time when compact meant a heavy iron machine that could be towed behind a pickup truck, specifically engineered to save the backs of American laborers. 3. John Deere 15 Mini Excavator. When we think of John Deere, we usually picture massive combine harvesters, or the modern sleek yellow and black construction equipment seen on highways today. However, the John Deere 15 takes us back to the early days of the mini excavator boom in North America. The John Deere 15 and its siblings like the 25 hails from the 1980s and early 1990s, a period when American manufacturers were rushing to compete with Japanese innovations in compact construction. During this era, John Deere entered into a significant partnership with Hitachi to produce excavators. Consequently, the JD15 shares mechanical DNA with Hitachi models of the time, but it was sold and branded for the American market with the iconic Deere livery. Visually, the John Deere 15 is vastly different from the rounded aerodynamic curves of a modern Deere 17G or 35G. The Model 15 is aggressively square. The cabin, or canopy area, is a sharp-edged box. The engine compartment is rectangular. Even the boom has a more rigid, angular geometry. This 8-bit, blocky design gives it a retro, toy-like appearance that differentiates it from contemporary machines. Weighing in at roughly 1.5 tons, the JD15 was designed for urban construction. It was small enough to fit through gates and work on sidewalks. Despite its small stature and cute vintage look, it featured a diesel engine that provided reliable torque for digging trenches and footings. One of the interesting quirks of this era of John Deere Minis is the control layout. Modern excavators use standardized ISO or SAE joystick patterns. The older Model 15s often had long, floor-mounted levers that required a different kind of muscle memory to operate smoothly. Seeing a John Deere 15 today is a nostalgia trip. The paint is usually faded to a pale yellow, and the decals reflect the typography of the 80s. It stands as a marker of the transition period when the American construction industry finally accepted that smaller could be better, paving the way for the massive mini excavator market we see in the United States today. 4. Ditch Witch A220 Backhoe. If you want to talk about American ingenuity in moving dirt, you have to talk about Perry, Oklahoma, the home of the Charles Machine Works, better known as Ditch Witch. While they are world famous for inventing the compact trencher, their foray into micro-excavation produced some of the most unique-looking machines on the market, specifically the A220 backhoe attachment. The Ditch Witch A220 isn't a standalone excavator in the traditional sense. It is a dedicated backhoe unit designed to mount onto the front of Ditch Witch's pedestrian trenchers, such as the popular 1030 or 1230 walk-behind models. When you see one of these fully assembled, it looks less like a construction vehicle and more like a mechanical insect. The cute factor comes from its spindly, functional design. The base unit is long and narrow, riding on rubber tires, or sometimes tracks, and the A220 backhoe hangs off the front, which is technically the rear of the trencher engine. To operate it, the user doesn't sit in a cab. Instead, they often sit on a small, rudimentary seat attached to the backhoe unit itself, or in some configurations, they operate it from a standing position near the controls. Despite looking like a toy assembly made of orange steel, the A220 was a serious piece of engineering. It featured a digging depth of roughly 5 to 6 feet, depending on the specific setup. The stabilizers, outriggers, are splayed out wide, resembling the legs of a spider, which is necessary to keep the lightweight machine from tipping over when the bucket is at full extension. The A220 represents a specific niche in American landscaping and utility work. The rear easement machine. In the United States, utility lines often run through backyards protected by narrow fences. Big excavators can't get in there. The Ditch Witch, equipped with an A2A20, was narrow enough to slip through a standard garden gate, deploy its insect legs, dig the hole for a junction box, and leave without tearing up the entire lawn. It is a perfect example of a machine designed purely around the constraints of American suburban infrastructure. 5. Vermeer S450TX with backhoe attachment. Next, we move to Pella, Iowa, to look at a machine from another giant of American agriculture and industrial equipment, Vermeer. The machine in question is the S450TX. While technically classified as a mini skid steer or a compact utility loader, when equipped with its dedicated backhoe attachment, it transforms into one of the smallest and most capable excavators you can buy. The S450TX is incredibly deceptive. It looks like a high-tech remote-controlled toy tank. It rides on high-mounted tracks and features a chariot-style operator station. The operator does not sit. They stand on a spring-cushioned platform at the rear of the machine, holding onto a safety bar and using joystick controls. This standing position gives the operator a high vantage point, perfect for looking down into the trenches they are digging. What makes this machine cute is its density. It is incredibly compact, usually under 36 inches wide, allowing it to fit through almost any residential doorway. Yet, despite its size, it is powered by a Kubota diesel engine, often around 24 horsepower, and has a tipping capacity that defies its visual footprint. When the backhoe attachment is clicked onto the front loader plate, the S450TX becomes a fully functional excavator. The operator drives the machine to the hole, lowers the loader arms, deploys the stabilizers on the attachment, and swings the seat out on the attachment itself, or operates from the rear station. The Vermeer S450TX is significant because it changed the rental market in the U.S. Before machines like this, homeowners had to rent heavy, dangerous equipment or dig by hand. The S450TX made hydraulic power accessible and less intimidating. It bridges the gap between a wheelbarrow and a bulldozer. The toy-like appearance is actually a safety feature. By keeping the machine small and the operator standing, visibility is maximized, reducing accidents in tight spaces. It is a prime example of modern American compact equipment design. Versatile, powerful, and deceptively small. 6. Bobcat 1/16 Mini Excavator. When we talk about cute American machinery, we cannot overlook the brand that essentially invented the compact equipment market, Bobcat. While the world knows them for the skid steer loader, their entry into the mini excavator market in the late 1980s produced some of the most charmingly boxy machines ever made, specifically the Bobcat 1/16. Introduced as part of Bobcat's 100 series, which included the smaller Model 100 and the 1/16, this machine marks a pivotal moment in American construction history. Before the late 80s, mini excavators were almost exclusively a Japanese concept, dominated by Kubota, Yanmar, and Komatsu. American contractors were skeptical, preferring massive backhoe loaders. The Bobcat 1/16 was one of the machines that helped bridge that gap, proving that a dedicated compact excavator could work in U.S. soil. Visually, the Bobcat 1/16 is a time capsule of 1980s industrial design. Unlike modern excavators, which feature rounded, aerodynamic composite hoods and curved cabs, the 1/16 is aggressively rectangular. It looks like a machine made of white Lego bricks. The counterweight is a flat block of steel. The engine cover is a perfect square, and the cab, if equipped, is a rigid upright box with flat glass. Weighing in at approximately 3,500 to 3,800 lbs, around 1.7 metric tons, the 1/16 was capable of digging to a depth of roughly 11 feet 6 inches, hence the model number 1/16. It was powered by a reliable diesel engine, often a Kubota or Isuzu, despite the American branding, that put out around 20 to 25 horsepower. What makes the 1/16 cute today is its scale relative to its ruggedness. It features the classic Bobcat white livery with the orange and red stripes typical of that era. The boom and arm are slender but built with heavy-gauge steel, giving it a tough little guy appearance. Collectors and enthusiasts love the 116 because it represents the adolescence of the mini excavator in America, a time when the machines were small, mechanical, and simple, before they became laden with computers and complex electronics. Operating a 116 is a raw experience. You feel every vibration of the hydraulics, connecting you directly to the work. 7. Case 16 Mini Excavator. Following the Bobcat, we have another giant of American industry, Case Construction Equipment. The Case 16 is a model that holds a special place in the hearts of landscapers and utility workers across the United States. Produced primarily in the late 1990s and early 2000s, the Case 16, and its siblings like the 16 Plus or 16 Max, was the baby of the Case excavator lineup. The Case 16 is a true micro machine compared to the massive earth movers Case is famous for. It falls into the 1.5 to 1.6 metric ton class, which is the sweet spot for towing behind a standard pickup truck. This portability made it incredibly popular for small American businesses, plumbers, pool installers, and electrical contractors who needed to dig but didn't want to pay for a heavy equipment hauler. Aesthetically, the Case 16 is undeniably cute due to its proportions. It features the iconic Case Tan, Power Tan, and brown paint scheme. The machine is so compact, often less than 4 feet wide with tracks retracted, that the operator station looks almost oversized compared to the rest of the chassis. It sits on rubber tracks that look like toy tank treads, designed to minimize damage to established lawns. Under the hood, the Case 16 usually featured a 3-cylinder diesel engine, often a Perkins or Mitsubishi, delivering around 20 horsepower. It was known for its center swing boom, which allowed the operator to dig directly next to a house foundation or fence line, a critical feature for American suburban work. For the vintage machinery enthusiast, the Case 16 represents the era when compact became comfortable. Unlike the earlier cruder machines, the Case 16 often featured pilot controls, joysticks, rather than long mechanical levers, making it feel more like a modern video game to operate. However, it still retains that mechanical simplicity that allows a backyard mechanic to fix it with a standard wrench set. It's a working dog of a machine, small, eager, and surprisingly strong for its size. 8. The Little Beaver, Haynes Manufacturing. Finally, we arrive at perhaps the most unique and toy-like machine on this list, the Little Beaver. While the prompt mentions Burke Brothers, this machine is universally known in the industry as the product of Little Beaver Inc., founded by Newman Haynes in Texas. It is technically classified as a mechanical earth drill, but its design and function often land it in the same conversations as micro-excavators and trenchers. The Little Beaver is a marvel of American minimalism. It looks less like a construction vehicle and more like a soapbox derby car with a drill attached. It consists of a small tubular steel frame riding on 3 or 4 small pneumatic tires. An engine, usually a small Honda or Briggs & Stratton gas engine, typically 5 to 8 horsepower, sits prominently on the frame, connected to a mechanical transmission. What makes it an excavator in spirit, and often confused for a micro backhoe in vintage listings, is its purpose: moving dirt to create holes. Unlike a handheld auger that breaks your back, the Little Beaver transfers all the torque to the machine itself. The operator pushes it around like a shopping cart. When they reach the digging spot, they engage the engine, and the auger drills perfectly vertical holes for fences, foundations, or soil sampling. The cute factor is off the charts. It is tiny. You can literally lift it into the back of a station wagon or SUV. It has no cab, no tracks, and no hydraulic boom in the traditional sense. It is purely a frame, an engine, and a drill. Yet it solved a massive problem for American fencing contractors: how to dig hundreds of holes without a massive tractor. Vintage models from the 1960s and 70s are particularly charming, often painted in bright red or orange, with exposed chains and gears that you can see working. It represents the garage inventor spirit of America, taking a difficult job, digging post holes, and building a simple, clever mechanical buggy to do it for you. It is the little engine that could of the excavation world, proving that you don't need tons of steel to move the earth. You just need good engineering. 9. Laymore sweepers with backhoe attachment. For the 9th entry on our list, we turn to a machine that is a staple of American road construction but is rarely associated with excavation. The Laymore sweeper, specifically the Model 8HC or similar variants equipped with a rear-mounted backhoe. Laymore, a brand deeply rooted in the American paving industry, is famous for its 3-wheeled street sweepers. These machines are instantly recognizable by their tricycle design. 2 wheels in the back, 1 steerable wheel in the front, and a massive rotary broom in the middle. They look almost like cartoon vehicles or mechanical insects scurrying around a job site. However, what many people don't know is that these machines were often marketed and sold as multi-purpose utility vehicles. In the 1990s and early 2000s, you could order a Laymore sweeper with a fully functional backhoe arm attached to the rear. This configuration creates one of the most unusual-looking excavators in history. You have the operator sitting high up in the cockpit of the sweeper. To use the excavator, they would typically turn around or use a swivel seat to operate the controls facing backward. The cute factor lies in the juxtaposition of functions. It's a broom that digs holes. The backhoe attachment wasn't designed for digging swimming pools. It was engineered for specific road crew tasks, like digging out a crushed drain pipe or cleaning out a deep pothole before the sweeper cleaned the surface for paving. Seeing one of these today is a treat for machinery spotters. They are often painted in bright, safety yellow or orange. The combination of the large broom assembly and the small, dangling excavator arm on the back gives it the appearance of a Swiss Army knife on wheels. It represents a very specific era of American manufacturing, where the goal was to make one machine do the job of 2, saving the contractor from having to haul a separate mini excavator to the site just to dig a small hole. 10. Ingersoll Rand Bobcat, the IR era. Finally, we close our list with a specific era of a legendary brand, the Ingersoll Rand Bobcat. While Bobcat is a household name today, there was a specific period in history, roughly from 1995 to 2007, when the company was owned by the industrial giant Ingersoll Rand, IR. The machines from this era, particularly the micro-excavators like the Bobcat 320 and 322, have a distinct aesthetic that differs from the modern lineup. The prompt mentions white and clover, Trevo. In the context of heavy machinery history, this likely refers to the distinct branding of this era. While the machines were white, the classic Bobcat color, during the IR ownership, they heavily featured the Ingersoll Rand logo, which is a stylized IR that can look like a symbol or shape, and often used a creamier, off-white, or beige tone compared to the stark bright white of today. Additionally, the older Melrose-era Bobcats, pre-IR, sometimes featured the Melrose Gopher logo or the distinct Bobcat head logo, which has a clover-like 3-lobed shape in certain iterations or decal sets. The IR-era mini excavators are undeniably cute. The Bobcat 320, for example, is tiny. It features a rounded bubble-like cab, or canopy, that looks like a space pod. The tracks are narrow and the dozer blade looks like a small spatula. These machines were the workhorses that truly popularized the mini excavator in the United States rental market. Before the IR era, many Americans still preferred backhoes. The marketing power of Ingersoll Rand, combined with the reliability of the Bobcat engineering, put these toy-sized diggers into the hands of homeowners and DIYers for the first time. Collectors today seek out these IR-branded Bobcats because they represent the golden age of mechanical simplicity. They had fewer electronics than today's machines, which are now owned by Doosan and filled with sensors. An Ingersoll Rand Bobcat is pure iron and hydraulics. When you see one with that vintage IR logo on the side, you are looking at the machine that finally convinced America that small could be powerful. These mini machines prove that American industry tried to innovate in every segment, creating versatile tools that anyone could operate. They are the gateway drug to earth-moving addiction. The knowledge about these machines is disappearing, but together we can save it.